want to come back and have a conversation. As you know, they are getting ready to have this Black Leadership Summit here in Las Vegas. And it was kind of concerning to me. Let me grab the flyer here. It was concerning to me that you should have had this ready. That the conversation about getting ready to have this event as to the wording on the invitation, there was a lot of concern about the Black agenda, and there was a concern about just what was the existing Black agenda. And guess what? None of that makes no sense to me. I was trying to understand what the conversation was about because it was crazy. It was simply crazy, simply because our people really don't get it. There are so many people that don't get it, but then there are some people that get it. And then this evening I was watching Oprah, and because she had a little live stream, and her and Gail were talking, and they were talking about, just the whole bit about how Gail's being utilized by public media to bring about all the negative in the Black community. So she reports on, she's the reporter for the Black people. And so R. Kelly and, Bill Cosby, and she's just all in it. Like she can explain where the people were coming from. And I'm afraid. And then she was offended by what Snoop said. But then if you listen to Snoop's music, he didn't say anything different in his records and his everyday records that we all party to. We all party to that shit. What is it? What we gonna do now? Smile, bitch. Smile. And put your middle finger up in the air, and all this is on his, his CD. Put your middle finger up in the air and wave it like you just don't care. You know what I'm saying? He's grinning because he has made it. And he just talks about his life in candid form. And here we are, the rest of us. And of course, the mourning for the loss of Kobe Bryant was real for a lot of people. They could see how he had made it in his life, and then be taken so, it's a lesson in life, that life is so precious, and you need to do all the things you can do to protect life. That's the lesson. We all should have gotten a lesson. It was a choice that he made that perhaps he had control of making and probably shouldn't have made that choice. Well, who says? Who knows? Who knows what happened? I don't. I wasn't there. And I'm still living. So, enough of that. Just want to talk about us as a people. Now, Nevada is going through a process here, right about now, about reorganizing the public school system. And to try to understand, the conversation at the meeting was all about not feeling the superintendent was responsive to a few people. Well, the superintendent doesn't have to be responsible or responsive to anyone unless you have a movement. So if you want change, then you do have to show up. So they were asking people to show up on the Thursday night meeting, which I probably will go. But the real deal is that here we are. And this is on the agenda. I'm getting ready to share the screen so we can review what's happening at the Nevada Department of Education, so we know what's getting ready to happen at the local school board meeting. So I'm sharing the screen. Here we go. And it's this one. Share that. Okay, here we are. It's just a U.S. law. That's it. It's on this website here. And 2017, Nevada revised the statutes for Chapter 385, State Administrative Organization, NRS 385-111, preparation of a plan, an annual submission plan, effective through June 30th, 2016. Now, see, this happened a long time ago, but we're still going through the process of it. So the state board shall adopt a plan to improve the achievement of pupils enrolled in public schools in the state plan. It must be prepared in consultation with employees of the department, at least one employee of the school district and the county whose population is 100,000 or more, appointed by the Nevada Association of School Boards, and at least one employee of the district and the county and the population of less than 100,000, appointed by the Nevada Association of School Boards. Okay, let's see. At least one representative from the statewide council for the coordination of regional training programs created by NRS 391A130, appointed by the chief counsel, and may be prepared in consultation with representatives of the institution of higher education. It said may. It didn't say shall. It said may. Or representative from regional educator laboratories, or representatives from outside consulting groups, representatives of regional training programs for professional development and teachers and administrators created by this NRS 391A120, and the Bureau, and other persons who the state board determines are appropriate on or before March 31st. As we know, March 31st is quickly rising. Of each year, the state board shall submit a plan or revise a plan as applicable to the governor, committee, Bureau, Board of Regents, the University of Nevada, the Board of Trustees of each school district, and the governing body of each charter school, added by NRS 2003 19 special session. And I guess you could just go through all this, and you have to look at this NRS 385 3593. And so, I mean, it's just so real. I wanted to share something else, but let me see if I can share. Stop this share. Okay, the share screen one more time. Here we go. Share this. Now, I was looking at the data. See, this is why we just need to understand what is happening. What? Somebody's going to tell me what's going on. So we look at this male and female, and this is the organization code. I don't know what that. This is the year graduating class of 2016 and the graduation rate. But for Black children, it is only 56.5%. But then, probably is even higher. It's because we don't even know. And that is it doesn't even identify it. I mean, you get these reports, they really don't give you a whole lot of information, but you do see the disparity in the data. Because even down here, these graduation rates supposed to be at 67%, but I don't even know how that came in the state, I guess, across the state. And then let's see, what else do they have here? I'm not exactly sure. Is this a different? White male, unknown. I don't see Black here. Oh, here's Black. 71% supposedly. Look at all the homeless people down here. Ooh, in the foster youth. Ooh, 84% foster youth. They all graduated. What can I say? There's a whole bunch of them that didn't. That's what I'll say. And I was online. I would stop this one. And push through to share the screen again. And I guess this is where I'm going to have to go here. Then because I want to go somewhere else. I'm going to go up here and go to that. Because I've been looking at these reports of the graduation rates for Black children. And that's at 56% more. Then I looked at this one. They don't really give you a way to figure out what is happening in the community for your people. Because, let's see, chronic absenteeism. There's the Black people. Actually, look, they're leading in the whole district. They are the highest absenteeism. So let's check out the transiency. They don't let you see the waves. Let me see if we can get a more detailed reports. We've got more details, but it might not let you have details because if you ask for too identifiable stuff, they eliminate you to get it. Let's see, this is the last one. This is the only one, and then what we're gonna look at retention. Let's select all of. Let's search. Okay, let's just get an update right there. So what's their attendance? Well, I can't figure out their reports because when you really get down to the local schools, they don't give you any data either. So I don't even know how parents even make good decisions in regards to how they will support their children or where they will support their children. It's just real. I had some stuff in my Google Drive that I could share with you, but if I knew how to get back in there, that would be cool. Sometimes I need to make a new window. Make a new window here, and go here, and there's the Google Drive. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, what's happening? Here is the folder that I put on my Google Drive to share with everyone, whoever, you know, thought, whoever I thought that could, help support this cause. But I mean, you don't want to do that. People, you give people the ability to edit, and then they start editing. What is that? Okay, this is some information right here. First grade baseline evaluation. Excellent piece of information. What should we think about when it happens to first grade? The first grade baseline evaluation is an optional tool that can be used in the beginning of a school year to help teachers get to know reading and language skills of each student. The evaluation is composed of 7 screenings. Teachers may use the entire evaluation or choose individual screenings that they find most beneficial to their students. This information, I'm losing my thing. Yeah, this information can aid teachers in planning instruction that will meet the needs of each student. And then so it goes through this whole process of assessing students. But know this, if your student is struggling and below grade level, then you need to check yourself because it's not happening. Students who get below grade level stay below grade level. And as long as they're below grade level, they never are moving towards proficiency. And so even if they graduate, they show up in college and they're still remedial. Seriously? Who kind of follow that? What is the value of a letter grade? It can't be much because children are allowed to go through the whole school year with carrying the letter grade of F. And I'm just trying to wonder what the hell's going on now. I mean, there used to be some semblance of accountability. And I can remember when I was in school, my dad was in the Air Force, and I got support. People advocated for me to ensure that I was being successful. But then when we got out of the military, there was a whole different game going on. It seemed like, we were in a school that didn't really want us there. And we came to, when we got back from Japan, because we lived in Japan for a while, but when we got back from Japan, we were in Texas. And we got to be off base because it was in the late 60s or whatever. They had just had that tornado in Lubbock, and so we had to stay off base. So we went to an all-black school, got straight A's. It was just so wonderful to have that experience of being in an all-black school. Then all of a sudden, in the middle of the year, they got the school open, on the other side of town. And so we had to go to that school because that's where the base was taking us, or that's where the bus took us. And then when we got over there, we got straight F's. I even flunked square dance. I flunked every class. And the teacher stood up there and said, I don't know why you got your hand up like nigger, because I'm not going to call on you. And see, that's what we had to face when we were in Texas. And then we came to California, and it was more subtle. I'll say it was just, a subtle semblance of no one really caring, no one really sharing, and people had jobs. People had jobs, and their jobs didn't include you if you didn't have a lot of money behind you. And so, kind of like, there were a lot of people that got screwed over. I remember my cousin basically got screwed over. She got into an ROP class, and somehow they tricked her and made her fill out the money for the financial aid so she could go to the RP class. And then all of a sudden, she didn't get any grades for that semester. It was like she didn't get the credits, and then therefore she couldn't graduate. But I mean, there were a lot of people that were aware of that was going on, and that people were getting screwed behind. People get screwed behind all kind of things these days. Just going in and getting your car service, then you wind up with the car. My neighbor here wound up a car. She's 87, legally blind. They sold her a car. Seriously? And then when she couldn't make the payments, because they self-financed the car, they came and repossessed it. So they had her car and the car that she bought. So she has nothing. I mean, at 87, why did that even happen? She couldn't even see the paper that she was signing. And then we filed the complaint and we're still waiting for a response. Just waiting for a response. But I tell you one thing. If you don't fight, you get nothing. And so here we are living in Nevada. And I know the data's bad. I know what it looks like. I saw it. But it doesn't seem that people are outraged behind the failure. They want to make an excuse as to why the children are the way they are. But the children are bad. Because generationally, generations have happened. And children have raised children. And they don't have foundation. So you got a lot of kids with mouths that need to go in somewhere else, that are not functional in society. And it just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. There was a little video on, I think it was on Facebook, it was on my Facebook page. And this little boy, he was expressing his discontent with what was happening to him. What was going on with him. And he was so pissed off. But guess what? It didn't matter because he was being arrested. But he was acting as if it was a joke. It was a joke to him. I'm going to get to it soon. Is this the one? Yes, this is it. This is a video. You got to watch it. Because I said, oh, Lord, seriously? Making me sad.
Wasn't called on this round, you might be called on the next round. Yeah, so I see the young boy, the little boy stepping out, his feelings is all hurt. Who am I? Who am I talking about? I'm talking about little Ben X, his little feelings is hurt, running around, putting my name, putting up a picture with me and Farrakhan. Wow, that's an honor, brother. Running around Sarnetta. I think Sarnetta is trying to start some problems with the Nation of Islam. Why would you say that, little man? Come on, little boy. Put on your big drawers and stop playing games, little Ben X. You was not even a thought in your daddy's nuts when we was doing this stuff. The Nation of Islam have always been critiqued. Are you trying to tell us that we can't critique the Nation of Islam, but the Nation of Islam can critique everybody else? It can critique Khalid Muhammad. The Nation of Islam can...
We're going to skip ahead a little bit. There we go.
Open it up for the public. Come in there, sit down, and over somebody doing a damn interview. But I said...
Look at you. Look, you look so stupid. Do you believe how dumb you look right now? You look so dumb. You look so stupid. This nigga crazy. You look dumb, nigga. You look stupid. Look at him, thought I was stealing. He ain't got nothing to say. Ain't got nothing to say. Nigga, who? James, he locked up. James locked up, nigga. I don't know. I guess his name was DeAnthony, but nigga, I was told that his name was James. Nigga, I ain't tripping. Take me in here. Look, y'all see that? Office is being taped. I ain't tripping. Don't even trip. Don't even trip, man. Watch this. Don't even trip. Don't even trip. Look at him. Look at him. Say hello. Say hello. You look dumb because you thought I was stealing, huh? And then when you check my bag, I ain't have nothing, huh? You look so stupid. This nigga looks so dumb. He looks so stupid. He like, let me see your bag. Check my bag, ain't have nothing in it but a pocket full of money. Nigga, check my bag, ain't had nothing in it but a pocket full of money. Look how dumb he look. Oh my God, you look so stupid. And I got 20 viewers on here, so look at him. Look at him. You look so dumb, dude. You look so stupid. That's crazy. With a pocket full of money. Let me show y'all my damn shit. Look at that. It looks so stupid, dog. But my headphones. Nothing but my headphones. Looking stupid. How dumb do you feel? Out of scale 1 through 10, how dumb do you feel? How dumb do you feel, sir? Out of 1 through 10, how dumb do you feel? Feeling dumb as hell, huh? Look at him. Look, you got your arm all on me. Like over there, think you doing something with that little bitch ass trespass order. I'll break that bitch ass computer, nigga. Stop playing with me, nigga. I'll bitch get up right on my mama. I'll beat the shit out you in front of your mans, nigga. Me inside your feet, he don't get his ass whooped too, nigga. What is you talking about? I'm on tip, nigga. What you wanna do, nigga? I'll put some hand sanitizer on my hand and open hands on bitch ass, nigga. Talking about some, oh, he got a firearm. Bitch, I ain't got no firearm. Stop lying on my name, nigga, before I knock your teeth out, bitch. You ain't gonna be able to tell you anything. Looking dumb as fuck, nigga. Like I'm going out. What you looking at? Nigga, you wanna scrap? You wanna scrap, nigga? You wanna get out of here, nigga? What are you talking about? What you wanna do, nigga? Step over here, nigga. Step over here, I promise you, nigga. You gonna have to tase me, nigga. Cause I'm gonna be on top of you. Gotta be
Now,
All right, we already.
what can we say about that kind of stuff? Because that's what they deal with our children. And they're dealing with our children because you know what? Let me stop this share and go back to my share screen and go back to this one because is it there? Oh, where was I? Here. I'm sure that one. I don't know either. I have to be in the other one. I can find it. You know, I looked at this, the self-assessment and the comparison for Nevada and all the other states, and you type in African American up here. And you see, when you get African right there, you get no results. And then you go back here and you just type in black. You see, there's no results either. So it's really kind of, what should I say? I think we're dealing with, and then, you know, on the state's website, they have these alternative programs. And when this is as much information as you're going to get. I mean, there's just limited information. There's no information, really, basically. You get a location, and somebody got a contract. You know that. Somebody's getting paid. Oh, Lord, it is just, I'm just confused. Let's see. This is coming up. This is the meeting coming up. And they want to talk about, what is it? The coronavirus? I think that's it. And then that's it. That's the only thing that's on the agenda is the coronavirus. Let's see. And this is safe word. I had some other things I wanted to talk about. This is the one I was in when I went to go look at that. And then that's when I went to look at this. This is information about the statewide improvement plan for pupils. And see, this is going to be on the Thursday meeting. So I got here and I said, well, what is that statewide improvement plan? And then I said, well, let me just, look at this. Look at this NRSM. So I just highlighted it. Okay. Put my little cursor there. NRS 38511. Let's go here. NRS. There it is. I think it's always there before. And then I just clicked on that. That's really nothing what I clicked on. Look at here. This preparation for it. And that's where it was when I started. Because simply, we as the people, we get on here a lot, but we as the people have a personal responsibility to ensure that if we were given life, that life survives after us. And the journey has been long and hard. And we have always fought as a people to ensure that we were progressing, but we forgot who we were. Because we got people who act in the role of, I consider it like house Negro. And the house nigga is sit up here and he made a lot of money over a time. And, he ain't got time to deal with you. I gotta just, I don't know. I probably can't even play a snippet of Snoop's song because of the whatever, the rules. And so, but he says, I'm living my best life. Ain't got time to deal with you niggas. Seriously. You just can't hear that enough. Because he is living his best life. And then you listen to the whole song and people party off it. Hell, I was partying off of it. And then the thing happened with Gail, and then she just reacted. So, I mean, she was digging a story. It was like an opportunity for her to get glitz and glamour by focusing on, her. She picked the one person to try to, pull out anything negative about Cooley, because she's the one that chose. She got to choose. She selected. She was in charge. She knew what she was doing, and she did it, and she didn't give up. She just didn't care. And then for her to go and open tonight and act like she was so crushed because she's living that life. She's living a life that is not real for so many people. And guess what? That life is not real for her either. Because at any moment, at any time of the day, and any second of the day, one of those people that she doesn't socialize with or associate with or are just beneath her can take and ruin her life by what they didn't have. And that's why we have to look back. There's a reason why we have to become engaged, because none of us are safe. If we believe that the journey has just been there and we all have made it, we have all not made it. And simply, there are those of us who are just part of the harvest. And the harvest is real because they ain't getting nothing. And the harvest is even weak. I mean, it's not even a good harvest. But it is very fruitful and plentiful for people who have created ways to make money on dysfunction of other people. And, when you're allowing the television to raise your child, because your child can operate the remote and cannot articulate a word, is an issue because the child can't even speak, articulate words. And all of the words are so compressed together that speech and language is real. And children being identified as being autistic or in the spectrum, those children having tantrums because they don't have the ability to communicate. They have an ineffective ability to communicate. They know what's going on, but they don't have the expressive language to communicate it, and it's real. So, and what happens when Black children don't have services at a young age? Well, that's all that's focused on. And this is no lie. Your child can go to school the whole year and get the letter grade of F and be promoted to the next grade with the letter grade of F. And then start the school year with the attitude of going to try harder. But guess what? I don't care how hard you try, but if you are in the 9th grade or the 10th grade and you are at 5th and 6th grade reading level, then you just can't do it. And I would suggest that every parent push their child to read as much as they can so that they are prepared to engage in the process of education, because they are not playing well in this game. We are losing. We have lost. The few that get through can't even figure out how to come back in their own communities and lobby and understand that they have to show up and engage with other people to push for the oversight of public services that benefit all people. This is, I've never experienced people who live in this fantasy and have the ability, there's a lot of money in Las Vegas, so glitz and glamour is real. If you haven't seen the NAACP's website, I should show it to you. Las Vegas. They're in branch 1111. Now, this is supposed to be the biggest and the baddest and the oldest civil rights organization. But with the children, there's not even a 56% graduation rate for African American children. And then there's different levels of graduation. And so even though children are graduating, they may not be fully graduating with the ability to still receive federal financial aid, because I don't know how many kids are like that. I don't know what the data says about all these children, but look, they have some awards at the Doolittle Community Center. Oh my goodness. Legacy Awards. I missed that. And then here, see, they like to take pictures. They like to take pictures with all the poverty and as many children who are struggling, and they have to be struggling, because you don't have a 256% suspension expulsion rate if you don't have those dysfunctional behaviors in your local community and you don't have a voice in what's said or what happens. Because some people like photo ops, and that's all they do. They take pictures. And then they said, Education Saturday. I went to this meeting. Actually, I uploaded it and put it on my YouTube. And at this meeting, the state attorney general was here. And, I had an opportunity, see, there he is right there, to video record what he said. But my video was altered, and him being in the video was cut out. Whatever he said was edited, and said my iPhone had committed an illegal operation. An illegal operation. And then that part of the video was just sliced out. And that was it. So this is the kind of is going on right now. This is just a tool. and it's not even your tool anymore. So I'm recording on my computer, and when I get ready to send it to the cloud, I'll send it to the cloud. And I'm having the conversation about the meeting I was in, and it's on my Google Drive, and it's on my I think I put it on my YouTube page too. So you can go to my YouTube page and actually see it. And so, I mean, you can only pour your heart out. Oh, there's a picture of me. Look, see? Proof wise, I did record it. Oh, can I save my own picture? I don't know. Save as something. Yeah, let's save that. Who knows? When the young was there, and the superintendent, and Tyrone Thompson, he was there too. He actually talked about read by grade level 3. But I'm just telling you, he passed away. But there's a room. That's who was all in the room. People with real concerns. But if you listen to the video, you'll see that none of the concerns of the people are being addressed simply because the data doesn't reflect it. And there is one other, I gotta show you something, because I almost can believe it myself. Let me see, I sent it to somebody here. It's just real. Yeah, it's not. Is this it? No, that's at Centerville 89. That's not the one. I could do that one too, but I'm not going to. I think this is it. So, this is it. So, this letter was written to, see, it was from Brian Sandoval, whatever. And here it is. President Nguyen, State Board of Education. Assembly Bill 469, Section 43, requires the Department of Education to assess the equity of using the average unit cost for budgeting salaries and benefits of staff of the local school district and school precincts in Clark County and school district, whatever. Based on the assessment, the law requires the department to make recommendations to the State Board of Education and the Nevada legislature regarding whether to use an average unit, whatever, for the budget expenditures in whatever manner. This just was a conversation. And then they're telling them about how they budget their money and how they allocate resources. And see, here in Clark County, teachers get to choose where they work. And so I think that's pretty much how it is in Sacramento too, because you have to understand in Sacramento, they did have small, like magnet type programs. Because, when the magnet program was initially created, it was created to push people towards integrating the schools, desegregation. And so it was incentive money to build programs. And it was supposed to push for integration. But I just know that there are so very few poor Black people in those programs because simply, what is the value of a letter grade if you're really not learning? And how do you assess the benefit of education if you're not looking at the outcomes? And if there is a significant disparity in the benefit of children accessing resources, basic resources. I mean, here in Nevada, they have such a disproportionate, what can I say, dropout rate. It's across the board. Behavioral issues. I mean, it's just across the board. And then there are people that truly are trying to struggle through the system where there's no system of accountability. And people do what the hell they want to do here. This is the Wild Wild West. Wild Wild West. That's what I think it is. Shit. I mean, people do whatever they want to do here, and there's no consequence. There's far too many people in the juvenile system who are African American, and there are far too many people who are failing, far too many people who drop out of school, far too many people who are undereducated here, and then there are far too many people who are getting paid to make those things happen. And I just consider that a little fraudulent because if it's like the welfare check, and it's just like there's some expectations with that money. And so there is some expectations with the money. And, I did talk to a few people. They try to explain to me that we somehow are in some way complicit in the failed services of African Americans here. I believe we are because guess what? I can't find the avenue to have the conversation about failed services. But I know they got to be failed because if you go into the Goodwill here in Nevada, there are a lot of seniors that are working in there, but they're not disabled. They're senior citizens. And then there are a lot of young people trying to get a foothold in the job, but they're not disabled. And, when you're dealing with somebody who has a disability, you do know. And then you just do know that you're dealing with people who don't have a choice. Based on their level of education, that's where they are. And it really doesn't really mean that. It just means that, what level of their skills? I mean, can they come back change? Can they do that? I mean, they may need to be there where they can learn and then move on in life. Because you always have to have a system of where you're learning a basic skill to move on in life. Equity model. I think I want to download this one. I have to download it. So I want to, let me see. I want to open it in PDF. Really. Because then I can put that word in there so I can show you something right here. So I can put African American. Look at that. No, I'm in the wrong thing. I'm not supposed to be in that one. I don't want to be in that one either. That's not the one I'm looking for. I'm just downloading it. Where is it? This is it. Now, did it open? No, I don't know. I did download it. No. I wanted to open in the Adobe thing. Is it open already? No, it's not. All right, here we go. Sometimes, I'm telling you. All right, that didn't do that. Let's see this one. See, really, you find black students? Let's see. Let's look at students. Oh, look. There are 36 times. I don't know how many times, but students are in here. And every time you look, they're talking about services. But look, and even the behavior. What is that? I thought I seen something. I mean, this is real. But in conclusion, they're not talking about black students here. Nowhere in the document. Nowhere. So we're here by law, mandated under compulsory laws that can punish your family through CPS, child abuse, or a lot of different ways. And if you not got your children in school, that you can face challenges in life. Then still, they don't have to provide. Yes, they do. They're supposed to provide you with information that demonstrate that the needs of your children are being met. And that's what they're not doing, because they do. In conclusion, there is no accountability in Clark County. Hey. see. There's no accountability. Accountability is not even part of the factor here. So that's not what I want to look at, is it? Let's see. This is good. This is a file called Educational Policy and Law. And this just goes through all the 50 states. And it tells you when it went to court, what were the challenges, you know what I'm saying? Like this one. Let's see, I'll pick one. The Peers versus Society of Sisters. Compulsory Education Act in Oregon was challenged, required every parent to send their children between 8 and 16 years of school by Society of Sisters Private School Corporation and Military Academy. Primary and the high schools and junior high schools and religious instructions of Roman Catholics, and claims that, one, the rights of parents to choose the school to get an appropriate religious training, and the right of schools and teachers to engage in useful business profession, and the repugnant to the Constitution. The 14th Amendment, corporations' rights, imperishable jury rule, reserve, deprivation of property without the due process law. The state has the power to regulate all schools and inspect and supervise, etc. But the active responsibility interferes with the liberty of the parent to direct the upbringing of their education of their child. Compromise. The state may be compelled attendance at some schools, but parents can get to choose between the public and the private. Balancing state and family and private schools balancing. Private schools have a property interest. Parents have a liability interest in the education of the children, other than public schools. Yeah. I mean, but this document just goes through all the lawsuits that have happened around, and it just clearly just states what happened through the process of discovery. And I would say through the process of discovery, I've been here long enough and have discovered that people really just don't understand. What can I say? They don't know, and you don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. Because simply, unless you live in the shoes of the person that you would like to represent, you don't know their journey. And the journey is real. So, when I talk about my journey, it's a real journey. It's just so real. And I can tell you that I truly, have been blessed. And, I don't regret any of the choices that I chose to do in my life. But I will say that I had to choose to live up to every choice that I made to be successful. And I feel that I am successful. Why? Simple. Because I raised my children, and I'm still raising them. And I'm still blessed, because I'm here with my mother and my son. And so, hey, life is real. Life is just real. Back to my Google Drive, because I'm going to show you something. I don't know if I'm sharing the screen. Sharing is pause. I'm not. I'm just talking. Well, shoot. I'm going to resume the share as soon as I get what I want to get on there. We've done this before. The NAACP. Please enjoy.
Where do schools like Spring Mountain Youth Camp, Juvenile Detention Center fit in the strategic plan?
So I think, well, that's on the strategic plan. When I shared that, I shared the strategies. One of the first folks that started looking at the strategic plan was provided, because it wasn't just my cabinet creating the strategic plan. It went out into the community and it went out into our principals. So they're included in some of the work that's in there within the strategies.
We talked a lot about proficiency gaps and opportunities. What are your plans for African American students that are on or above academic expectations?
That's a great question, because one of the things that we need to accelerate, those that are at the proficient, how do we get them to a higher level of learning? Because when you look at our kids competing with other kids across the country to get into the universities or into the workforce, you know, just because you're at a proficient level doesn't mean that you need to stay there. That you need to stay there throughout your K-12 system. You know, my hope is that if you're in the 9th grade and you're in a regular class, let's just simplify this, 9th grade English language arts regular. Well, why can't you get to an AP class? Because that's how your learning grows and continues. We need to have a growth mindset that every single student continues to learn. So we can't just expect that you graduate as a student in a regular class. And that's what we need to continue and we need to expand. How do we start opening access to our AP classrooms? Why do we have teacher recommendations? Why? These are the questions that I'm asking the team. Because we know, we can see the data all the way down to 5th grade, right? If you look at our 5th grade, who gets recommended?
Now, why can't they see the data below the 5th grade when the state said that what they said was they were going to be responsible to ensure that all children were reading by the 3rd grade level. So he's saying that they can only see the data down to the 5th grade. Well, a lot of our children have already gone to alternative programs, by the 5th grade. Let's just continue to record.
Into 6th grade advanced math. They're quiet. They came and asked all the questions. So it's how do we start looking at the achievement data and assessments? This is where I'll tell you that assessments are a good tool, because there's no color. Where you come from, it's a number. How do we look at that data? And that's what we created we purchased a balanced assessment system, K8, to look at student achievement data, because there's no racism in numbers and there's no names. And you start looking at numbers, and then you start accelerating. If you're at a level 2, how do you get to 3? How do you get to 4? Right? So if you look at it, in 5th grade, the gap starts widening. That's why our minority children are not in 7th grade Algebra 1. In 8th grade Algebra 1 or geometry, but in certain communities they are. So that's going to be where my team will be held accountable to open those doors. Because if you really look at it, they'll never get into a calculus class in 11th grade that my daughter was able to. Well, that's because Dad made the decisions for her. That's where the adults need to make the academic decisions for students around assessment data and push them. Because we know we push our own kids. And what I know about children, if they know that you love them and you hold them accountable to high expectations, they will do everything they can to achieve. So that's the way we're going to do that moving forward.
Thank you. We also, another elected official representative in the room is Shanti McGee, district representative for Congresswoman Susan Lee.
No
You
problem.
have an empty seat next to you. If you would raise your hand, we have a lot of people without chairs still.
Let me just come this way. That's okay, babe. That's okay.
Okay, due to the nature of why we're here, we ask that anyone that wants to film on their phone,
Now, you see, she felt the need to get up and try to tell people, me specifically, that I could not stand in the aisle while I was recording the meeting. And so, did you see her move the other chick out the way so she could tell me about me? And I just kept recording, but it really doesn't matter because this was not a town hall meeting. It was just a meeting for people to present information. There was really no information. I'm going to unpause.
either remain in your seat or stand to the back of the room and use your Zoom. We do not want anyone standing in the aisle because it blocks views of people that want to see up front. Can I get you all to agree to do that, please? Thank you.
Thank you. What is your commitment to ensuring all school improvement plans have a cultural competency goal that is implemented and monitored?
So as I've been very clear, we have a Focus 2024, which is the district school improvement plan, district improvement plan. So the way this is going to work, that every school, that's why it was very important for me to have the principals have the buy-in and see the plan before it was adopted by the board. So now every school in the district will all be targeted to meet the same district goals. We have that in our district plan. So in order for them to meet our goals, they have to include the same strategies within their school improvement plan.
I'm an employee in the CCSD. In my 4 years, I've witnessed administrators who are not prepared to address the needs of all students they serve. What will you do to implement, what plans do you have to address these shortcomings?
That's part of the work that we're starting with the National Equity Project. That's part of the work that we have to do around culture competency across the entire.
So, anyways, it was a long meeting.
That
He didn't really answer the
African
question,
American male.
and they didn't let anyone ask him a question. This meeting was so controlled. It just pissed me off because it was supposed to be Education Weekend, an opportunity for the community to ask questions. And then guess what happened? It was strictly regulated. It was not a free meeting. And I just don't see a need to go somewhere to have someone tell me anything when I can see things that are happening. And I have right to share too. And basically, as a person who is a citizen, that's all you have in life. You have your voice, your lived experience, and your level of knowledge. And that basically has to do with who you become in life. And I have become this person. When I have raised my sons, and I have supported them, and probably over-supported them. But the reality is that their lives hopefully will be better than mine because I'm not a grandmother yet. I had my first one at 28. And my son is almost 30, 35, 36. And I don't have a grandchild yet. And that's not a bad place to be because I feel that if you have a child, then you should be able to take care of that child. Just like you should be able to take care of yourself. And until you can do that, you shouldn't have a child. But you should understand that, hey, there's a lot to that children. There's so much to children. And the children are not getting it. So what should we say about those children? that I showed you a little bit earlier. That, wow, it's worse than that. I mean, I can show you some stuff that I have seen. And, go watch Snow on the Bluff on Netflix. Watch that. And then tell me what you think. We have to do a lot more. And this conversation coming up this weekend is going to be a lot. Simply because how do you prepare the data? How do you even have the conversation for the people that are hurting like that? Because they're in a situation where a lot of laws mandate their participation, but give no real support. Just document dysfunction. Because it's always about someone else judging from the outside. And judgment is real. But how can you do better if no one ever did anything for you? No self-advocacy. How do you even know how to advocate? You don't. It's just a sad day that we're living in. And I don't even know why I wanted to come on here, but I wanted to come and talk about, look forward to the meeting for the summit that is going to be at Nevada Partners, 690 Lake Mead Boulevard, the Black Leadership Summit. There is the flyer. I don't know. Can you see it? Oh, you probably can't see it. Oh, can do it. And then it has a button in the back. But it's March 14th, which is this weekend, from 9 to 3 p.m. I look forward to people coming out and know this. I went to the lodge here only one time, but I could see that, it's different in every city. Life is different in every city. And it has to do with who chose to stay behind. Who chose to stay behind and support that community. Because when Black people got a little bit of money, they just moved on up. And that's why I said that, Oprah and Gail and Kobe and Snoop, and they're in a whole different life than people who are like you and I. And then we're in a whole different life than the people who are living on the street. Because believe me, not where I want to be. But it's a lifestyle. And the hustle is out there. And the children are turning tricks. And there's a lot of sex trafficking and shit going on. And it's just a lot of real stuff going on. And life is real. Because people have to have a roof over their head. They have to have a place to lay their head. And they have to have something to eat. They have needs. And if they cannot make those needs, then they use whatever they have to make those needs. And because everybody ultimately pays some tax, some revenue to ensure that all these services are happening. But when they're not benefiting the community, especially when they're not benefiting a targeted group of the people, and the people who are most impacted just become more harvested by the dysfunction. Then I say pimping is easy for a whole lot of people because no one is standing up against this dysfunction. I believe that, there are laws on the book that require that if your child under child fine needs services with, speech and language and other debilitating issues, that, child fine is before 3 years old. I mean, there are services for children with 0 to 3. And those services were established by Congress, but yes, yet and still, it's mostly people who know how to access resources, access services. And it can happen. You wouldn't believe it, but there are people that get paid to watch their own children because their children have disabilities. Let's get real. I wasn't even aware of that one until I found out about it. But the families can get help with children with disabilities, financial help. So I just really am trying to understand where we are when we as people would question an opportunity to organize a movement of concern over failed services when the powers to be and the people who are in the positions who can't risk their position to take a stand on the dysfunction when it is so just fragrantly just in your face failed services and you're supposed to just accept that somehow as something that's just acceptable. But it's not acceptable, not when you have children who are 8 years old considering suicide and actually committing suicide. And then we have to hear this every other day. There's another child who has committed suicide for bullying, for whatever, because of failed services, because the child was being bullied. But where were the people that should have been working with the children and engaging them, teaching them character education and character development? And how does that happen in the community if the community doesn't accept the responsibility to build capacity for that kind of support network? Because it can't happen. People do it in their own personal circles. They build support networks and they find resources to try to sustain themselves. And I'm helping a couple of families still because I have learned the rules. And there are rules and everybody lives by them, except for some people who are privileged. And privileges go a long way because privileges set the fantasy. Not the reality.
Certain questions that have not been covered. We have about 1 minute left.
My name is David Austin.
None of the questions were answered. And they never went back and answered any of the questions.
We really want to have some comfort in our community. Congressman Horsford, as you know, represents CD4. On a personal level, my sister goes to art review. I volunteer with the BSU. And I don't think that we have satisfaction in the room, that we have an understanding of not only what happened, how we addressed it, but how we're moving forward.
Amen.
As your superintendent on Arbor View. And I'm going to address what I've addressed in the public and what we're doing to move forward. I've met with a few of the parents that were victims. Their kids were victims of the situation. I understand that, but I wanted to also keep it on a level where I got to respect the parents. I would say confidentiality on the issues and what they're going through, and then also this is going through the courts as well. So I'm not going to get into some of what's going to happen. That's not my purview. Now, what I said, actually, and I said publicly, as soon as I learned of the situation, actually, I was because kids for the adult, obviously on that until and that's supposed.
The video was actually edited.
So I sent the email to you.
And I didn't edit it, but it cut short. And that's when Hirschberg got up
How
there.
you doing? I'm gonna speak for my daughter today. Another month, so just work with me. Just speak for my daughter today. It's another month, so just work with me. So I sent the email to you, and I believe that you got this. This is my daughter online business. I made her address the sign and also take a stand against the teacher that called my daughter a slave. Let me educate you on the word of slave. A slave is a person who is legal property of another and is forced to obey the man. Well,
So there was a big old thing about Arbor View and how those children were responding out there. And I don't know whatever came of any of it because it's kind of like died down. Like this, he said that there was a lawsuit, and so And then there was something in the news today that talked about lawsuits and how the district has so many lawyers on staff, and then they hire outside counsel, and how much money has been spent on lawsuits. And actually, I think there should be one in regards to just, I mean, the resubmission of the Nevada plan to the Department of Education. They had to resubmit it, and I opened this. I'm gonna download it again because I don't even know where it is. But when this one, when you type in African Americans, the word actually comes up. All right, so it comes up, and you can start looking at, the data. And so these are the ones that are mixed. And it just says right here. They defined what a minority is. You see that? Cut my picture all the way off. I should just take it off. And then you go down here. And then there's just spaces in here where there's no data about Black students. Look at that. Long-term goals to measure interim progress in middle English language, arts, and math, and smarter balance assessment. See, here we go. African Americans. Look at that percentage. They don't even want to go above 50% by 2022. They don't even have a plan to have 50% of children reading at or above the 50 percentile, I guess. I don't even understand that. I mean, is that just it? Is that all it is? But they just talk about, they don't talk about what they're going to do to help support children program improvement. But that's, look, you're not going to get this here. Based on Nevada's Department of Education's root cause analysis conducted in 2015 in collaboration with the various stakeholder groups, it was determined that the following were the most likely reasons for Nevada's equity gap: inadequate teacher preparation for the 21st century classrooms, district recruitment and hiring retention practices, insufficient quantity of teachers prepared via state providers, inadequate resources for mentoring, coaching, and introduction, and skills gap due to unaligned initiatives and infrastructure. Seriously? So these children become adults, and those adults have had children over time. And because their parents didn't get an education, they didn't get one. And it's like 30 years. 30 years of people having children, when children having children, of dysfunction. It's more than 30, it's like 40, because I'm 60. So 20, I didn't have any kids. And by 30, I had one. And then, so I'm looking at the other 30, almost 40 years and seeing what the hell happened. I know that right after I got out of school, I'm guilty. I didn't go into political policy or governance or anything. I didn't do any of that. Actually, politically, I could say I didn't align myself politically until Obama came on the scene, because it was real for me. And I went through a merge, and I could see the value of being, you have to be forced to participate to protect your children's interests. Otherwise, there is no interest. I mean, people go to Europe and people go to Spain and they go on cruises every fucking summer. And your children are failing. And so in 12 years, what can your child actually do? Nothing. We're living in a society where people are paying themselves good health care, good retirement, good money, good taxpayer money, and children are going homeless. And rape and incest is happening. And so much dysfunction is happening in our families. And what do we say about all of this? Nothing. I mean, I swear, there's no one to talk to. If you're not outside your house, there's just no one to talk to about all of this dysfunction. Unless you go to a meeting or two. When you go to a meeting or two, you're going to listen. But there's really nowhere for you to express yourself about these concerns. And they are really concerns. We need to concern ourselves because, when I was the chair of the district advisory committee, I would encourage all the parents who wanted to participate, and we would get training. We would bring trainers and providers in to help train them so they know how to participate in their school site council and how to talk about the data and how to measure and monitor and target who is not being successful and ensuring that happens. Support happens here. They don't do any of that. I can just see that they have opted into so many little tiny pockets of charter schools everywhere. So it must be easy to get a charter school here. And then, it's got to be, because they're private charter schools. I don't know what they are. But when I heard the presentation on the Alex Dawson charter school, it's a charter school. It's not, and then they were giving that school at-risk money from Title I and then when I heard, we just gotta hear her say it. When I heard the board member talk about how many children were going to benefit, it was only two, and she wanted to know how she could get a report for something that had been going on for 10 or more years. And I can tell you, you wasn't getting no report. She wasn't getting no report on that. But what can I say here? I just don't know what to say anymore. Because it is real. Let me see why do we do it like this? I don't want to upload anything. I don't want to do any of that. I was trying to see why the way it was organized in the room. So anyways, it's just real. I don't really, it's a personal responsibility. You all have to have a person, and somebody kept deleting this video. They didn't like it, I guess. But Pastor, he seems to.
Item 2.01, public comments on non-agenda items.
28 years, and nobody.
Should a member of the public wish to speak on matters within the jurisdiction of the board not listed as action items on the agenda, they may speak during the public comment period on non-agenda items.
I have to get him first. Tired. He's coming up. Here we go. He says climax instead of climate.
Last meeting on the 9th, I did leave president of our board of operation and all. Good evening. I'm Dr. S.S. Rogers, pastor teacher of the Greater Mount Sinai Ministry of Recruiting Ministries from the corporation, and also I'm the president of Ministry Alliance of Southern Nevada. To our superintendent, president of our board of trustees, and to the board members. I'm here again as I was last meeting on the 9th. I did leave some documents with you all, but I wasn't able to complete those documents and reading them. I hope you all have read them, and I hope that someone will get back in touch with me dealing with those concepts. Here this evening, I said again, we are not represented on all school board committees, district training and role models of teachers and administrators, and all our.
And I want to say his concerns are valid, but perhaps the real deal is that He's been coming for years. And he should have put something in writing. And he did put something in writing. He said he did, but then he also said that they did not bother to respond to him. And see, that's just a really big, huge understanding that if you're Black, people don't see you having the ability to advocate for the Black people because you need to be worried about yourself because usually that's all they're worried about. And, you have to realize that, people who are given positions who really don't really qualify for those positions but are given those positions are put in place and they will sooner cut your throat than to admit that they don't know what they didn't know. I know for a long time somebody blamed me for them losing their job at the county because I asked for some data about the number of suspension exposure for African American boys. And then I got that data and then I hit somebody else to get some more data. And then they politely let her go. And she would go to public meetings and tell me and talk about how I got her fired from her job because I don't think she recognized what she was getting. It was something to bring attention to the issues. And, you can ask for data here. It doesn't mean you're going to get it. I mean, and then when you do, when you get information back from them, right? I'll put it like this. Let me just show you. Here we go. All right. You get this, they'll send it back. This is what you get back. So, anyways, let me just go over it really quick. To follow up your request attached, please find the documentation specific to your concerns, number 1, 7, 11, and 12. As a reminder, your request consists mainly of questions we are unable to ascertain specific records as to a portion of the request via are vague and overbroad. Please narrow your request and ask for specific identifiable documents so the district is able to conduct a reasonable search and response of public records. Also, if your request will result in extraordinary use of personnel and technology and resources, fees of extraordinary use of may be charged in addition to the copying costs to fulfill that request. See attached CCSD public records requests and fees and schedules. Okay. This is how they decided to answer my questions. Is the PTA the only, or is it only FACES, the organization that has partnered with CCSD? The vision, the mission of the Family and Community Engagement Services and FACES Department of Clark County School District is working for all stakeholders, supporting the children in academic, social, and emotional growth. FACES engages in families. Now, see, this is just selling FACES. And Nevada PTA is the only one of the partners that FACES works with in order to nurture and trust and improve communication and help families. So, that's how they do their parent involvement. Know that you specifically, I don't believe that Black people are all integrated into the public school system. So a lot of things they're just not into. And so they're not included in that FACES. And I wanted to know, who are the parents that participate or who were chosen? See, she didn't answer any of these questions. And then she said she's going to answer this one. Where is the plan to engage parents in whatever? And what are our findings, events? And then she says, here's the strategic plan, right? And the calendar. And then she sent me FACES calendar. Oh my goodness, she sent me FACES calendar. And so then it's a real witch call. But, I'm not going to be running around trying to figure out what these folks are doing when they got an office in the Nevada Department of Education. Come on now. They got an office there. They got like real employees. They're real partners. They really got salaries and benefits and dental and all that for parent involvement. But somehow they just missed the Black community. Although, they have rooms over there. I don't know why the Black people don't participate. Oh well, it's just not there. I mean, I don't know if those people identify the same. You just don't see it like that. All right, anyways, here we go. She answered another one. Question number 11. The clerk said, what happens at the district level to engage parents? And then she says, the Clark County School District Policy 1140, see attached, is collaborating with stakeholders to increase engagement. While Faces provides the support. While Faces provides that support. And see? And that's how they do it. Should I read any more? Nope. Nope. And so, okay. Did I write some more stuff? This is what I originally wrote. I requested this information between the parent involvement, see, and then she only picked the questions she really wanted. Then I wanted to know, these are all the schools that I could find. Then I wanted to know, how many black students were on the AP track for the Freedom March. I just wanted to know. Not by ethnicity, though. And this is what she sent me back. The fee schedule, and then she sent me back this 2024 plan. But in this 2024 plan, they still got a problem with suspension exposure. Because they really do have a 259% higher rate than any other ethnic group in the whole county. They are suspending more blacks out. And so I just, they said they have a 2024 plan and black kids are still failing. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do to help increase the viability of those students. Because you just can't be included in the plan when no one ever talked to you or talked to anyone else about how you're going to engage in the process. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. Anyway. Oh, and then she did send this. The family engagement, policy, basically. Well, anyways, enough is enough. Sign off for tonight. Looking forward to Saturday. And I'll check back in soon. Good night.